Up next on American Black Journal, the 2020 presidential candidates talk about issues that are important to African American voters. We'll have a report from the NAACP's National Convention. Plus, thousands of young people in Detroit are getting a chance to polish up their job skills this summer. Don't go away. American Black Journal starts now.
Masco Corporation is proud to manufacture innovative and environmentally friendly products for the home. Delta faucets, craft-made in Merillat cabinets, and Behr brand paints have all been designed with you in mind. Masco and its family of companies, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support also provided by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, a partner with communities where children come first. The Cynthia and Etzel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV.
The DTE Foundation proudly supports 50 years of American Black Journal in covering African American history, culture, and politics. The DTE Foundation and American Black Journal, partners in presenting African American perspectives about our communities and in our world.
Also brought to you by Ally, Nissan Foundation, and viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. Next year's presidential election is pivotal for communities of color. Several of the candidates had a chance to offer solutions to critical issues that affect African Americans during the NAACP National Convention right here in Detroit. The civil rights organization invited both Republican and Democratic hopefuls to address their membership. One Detroit's Will Glover has the story.
The single most important thing we have to do for all I want to do, from criminal justice reform to education to a whole range of issues from global warming on, is nothing happens unless we defeat Donald Trump.
I am worried that even now we may be underreacting to the situation that we're in. And it is not just the racism and the corruption that is emanating from this White House. It is the conditions that made a White House like this possible.
So what I'm prepared to do is put $100 billion of federal money into focusing on families living in red-lined districts, to focus on families living in federally subsidized housing, to help with down payments for home ownership.
And when we talk about Medicare for all as a human right, we also talk about the disparities in the healthcare system.
Here's the important part. We have got to make change in this country, not little changes around the edge. Big structural change. That's why I'm in this fight.
Well, I would first like to state this election is bigger than the presidency. I really believe this 2020 election is going to determine the next two generations of Americans from the next 70 to 100 years. The policies, the federal judges that are being put in place are not a reflection of the diversity and inclusion America has said. We want to do what Dr. King told them back in the 60s. We want you to be true to what you said on paper, Miss America, that this is the land of the free, the home of the brave, where one nation under God, where all men rights are created equal.
So what is your plan to bridge the economic disparities for Black and brown America in areas of home ownership and access to capital?
All right. So let me do these. I have a plan. Yeah.
Tell us your
to
plan.
build about 3.2 million new housing units in this country. The federal government has backed out of doing that. We need to do this. This would be housing for middle-class Americans, for working-class Americans, for the working poor, for the poor, for the homeless, for people with disabilities, for seniors that want to age in place. It would reduce rents overall by about 10%, produce about 1.5 million new jobs that can't be sent over to China or someplace else. But a part of this housing plan looks at why we have so much disparity in this country, and it's because of redlining.
I already knew that she had plans, but the way that she really handled herself and explained everything as far as budgeting, any candidate can say, oh, we're gonna get you housing, but how are you gonna help us get housing?
Mayor Pete, if you will, police-involved abuses in South Bend have been an albatross around your neck recently. Please tell us how you would, as president, fix this and other police abuses that arise in this nation.
As president, I am determined to have a Department of Justice that supports cities doing the right thing and compels police departments to do the right thing. Because as long as there is a wall of mistrust between communities of color and police departments, everyone is worse off.
Gentrification is a double-edged sword. However, what is your formula to bridge the chasm without hurting the disadvantaged?
Gentrification.
Yes, sir.
Look, we got a major crisis in this country in terms of affordable housing. All right? And it's not just that we have 500,000 people sleeping out on the streets today. You got millions of people who are spending 40, 50, 60% of their limited incomes on housing. And what we are going to tell the developers, you just cannot come in and build expensive condominiums and drive working class people who have lived in those communities their entire lives.
I really enjoyed Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris were two strong people. And Bernie's policies and his history, his track record has shown him to be a proprietor of criminal justice reform and criminal justice from the 60s till today.
I want to ask you about a few high-profile cases and how you would have handled them if elected president of the United States. Would you have charged the officer accused of the choking death of Eric Garner, yes or no?
Well, you know, I was just actually with Eric Garner's mother yesterday. And I will tell you that we spent a great deal of time together. First of all, part of what is wrong with this, what happened, and also the way that this happens every day in America, is we have to honor the grief of a mother and give her the dignity she deserves. The second problem with that case is that, and everyone I think knows this, the United States Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division made a recommendation that that case be charged. But the Attorney General...
During the Obama years.
And the Attorney General, the current Attorney General, instead went to the Eastern District of New York and bypassed the recommendation of the Civil Rights Division of the United States Department of Justice. Under my administration, the Civil Rights Division of the United States Department of Justice will have priority in terms of weighing in on what these cases should be. Furthermore, in a Harris administration, we will require independent investigations of these cases to ensure that there is justice, unimpeded by bias, unimpeded by prior relationships.
So you launched your new criminal justice plan.
Yep.
Can you explain your evolution since the 1994 crime bill?
Well, by the way, let's get straight with what the 1994 crime bill was. 1994 crime bill, we had a gigantic epidemic in America of violence, particularly in African American communities. Now, Jesse and I disagreed a little bit in this, but in my community, the notion was overwhelmingly supported. It was supported by the Black Caucus in the United States Senate, by and large.
Some members.
The majority supported it. The majority supported it, and black mayors supported it. But here's the deal. What happened is we lost the election 2 years later. We're unable to, every major initiative needs to be reformed. And we have now a systemic problem and too many African Americans in jail right now. So I think we should shift the whole focus from what we're doing in terms of incarceration to rehabilitation. I think we should be in a situation where anybody convicted of a drug crime, in fact, goes before the drug courts that I set up. We should fund it $400 million a year.
I will challenge people to do their own research and also consider everything and look into, the previous things that they've done in the community before and how it relates to them as minorities.
I want them to keep their ears open and be positive towards this election because there's going to be a lot of negativity, moving forward to 2020.
Just ahead, we're going to talk about growing Detroit's young talent. But first, here's a 1991 Detroit Black Journal excerpt of Virginia Governor Douglas Wilder's keynote address at the NAACP Fight for Freedom Fund dinner.
Sometimes you have to remember from whence you come. I recall a Dutch frigate ship, 1619. They called it Red Letter Day in Virginia. It was that day that tobacco was introduced into the colonies at Jamestown, and that women were introduced by being on that ship, and that 19 individuals of African descent also came. Oh, they didn't come over as slaves. They came as indentured servants. You and I know that America's entire history has been a struggle to transform lofty words upon parchment into living realities for all Americans, a quest to eradicate double standards. And that's why when early in our nation's history, while some living upon freedom's soil were called upon or allowed to go about pursuing their personal freedoms, financial enrichment, and spiritual fulfillment, we are painfully aware that others were forced to carry their labors upon broken backs, the fruits of what they were doing, to the banquet tables and the manor houses, many of which they and their fathers had helped to build, but few ever inhabited, fewer still never owned.
Every year, the Grow Detroit's Young Talent Program gives 8,000 teens and young adults a chance to learn valuable career skills and earn money during the summer. There's a wide range of jobs available, and the young people are matched to employers based on their interests, their skill levels, and their accessibility. Here to tell us more is Kate Cherry from Connect Detroit, which manages the citywide program, along with employer Dr. Grenade Dudley of the Youth Connection, and Maya Nixon, who is working at the Youth Connection for the summer. Welcome all of you to American Black Journal.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite programs in the city, and I keep trying to encourage my kids to participate. I haven't quite got there.
I say we don't have the call.
Yeah, right. But talk about where this idea comes from and how important this is to young people.
Sure. So back in 2008, 2009, we had a lot of interest in summer youth employment programming in the city, and my organization, City Connect Detroit now, got involved in it with the Skillman Foundation and a small group of partners. It's grown tremendously every year since. This year we'll hit about 8,000 young people, in large part to support from the city, from a network of 75, 80 community-based organizations, and well over 100 for-profit employers who help make this program come together for last year 8,200 kids.
Yeah. One of the things that I think holds people back or kids back from doing this is that nervousness about, okay, well, what are they going to want me to do, and how will I fit in at the place that I'm going? You guys do a lot to make that transition a lot easier.
Sure. I mean, first of all, we get a lot of calls from parents.
Yeah.
That's where they start, right? But we also get a lot of emails from kids, a lot of walk-ins from kids. And that's something we had to learn along the way. The first year, the idea was really, this is just an employment experience. We started with 300 young people. And then as we scaled up, we realized that these are young people coming from all walks of life, all over the city, with lots of different experiences. And some of them need a little more hand-holding. You know, when you've grown up in a tough situation, it's not always easy to find your birth certificate to become an employee, right? That kind of thing.
That's a great point.
So every year we're trying to scale up the services and supports that underlie the work to just make it easier for one more kid to find one more experience.
Tell me about what's going on at your business with Grow Detroit's Young Talent.
Well, we've been involved since its inception. I guess it's 11 years now. Oh my goodness! But we have been a lead agency for the last 3 years or so. So we're responsible for 200 of those 8,000 youth this summer.
Wow.
Maya is one of those youth. But I think one of the things that all of our organizations are doing is having to prep those kids prior to placement with employers. So we're required to do about 12 hours of training. So it's workforce development, it's time management, it is how to deal with conflict resolution, those kinds of things. But The Youth Connection provides about 26 hours prior to placement with an employer. So we're really excited about the youth that we place, and our kids want to work. They want to do something for the summer.
Yeah. Talk about some of the places that that you're connecting youth with.
Oh my goodness, we have the water department, we have the CDC, that's where Maya is placed this year. We have the police department, the fire department. We really want to make sure that our kids connect to resources that are within the city of Detroit. And we have some of the kids at the Youth Connection as well.
Yeah.
And they are doing a great job. I have one young lady's doing data entry for me, and I am so excited.
All right, so Maya, tell us from your perspective how this is all going. How's your summer been?
My summer is going great, awesome. It's been a great summer. I'm working with CDC at a garden called Oakland Avenue, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
And CDC, it's CDC, right? It's a community development corporation called CDC as well, right? Tell us a little more about them.
Well, I really don't know much. Dr. Dudley could probably tell you a little bit more because, you know, so.
Well, part of it is that it's one of the nonprofits that partner with us to take some of our kids.
Yeah.
And Maya's experience is the gardening and being in the community. She wanted to be in her community because she has worked with that CDC for years, even before the youth. So she's been with us since she was 14 now.
Okay.
And she's a college graduate, or not a college graduate, she's on her way to college now.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us about the work that you're doing there, the gardening this summer. And
well, the garden is in my community. It's in my community, and I've been working at the garden for a good while now. So I love it. I love it. We do a lot of harvesting. We work outside. We're learning how to plant, transplant, do all those different kind of things. And the reason I really love it is because it's helping my community. They're buying fresh fruits and vegetables from there, and it's better than going to the local store and just getting junk food. So it's very good.
Yeah, and so she said you've graduated high school and are headed to college. Tell us about that.
Well, yes, I've graduated high school. I'm going to be a sophomore this year.
Okay.
So yeah, I've already experienced the college life for the first year.
Okay.
But I'm going into my sophomore year, and the Youth Connection through GDYT has helped me so much, like so much, and with social skills, because, you know, when you're with the Youth Connection, you talk to a lot of people, you connect with a lot of people, and it's really helped me with college a lot.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to a lot of people. So.
Right. I mean, that soft skill development, I'm sure, is one of the things you guys really focus on. It's not just about work.
That's right. So every year we've added some additional components to the program. The soft skills was one of the first things we added, 12 hours of employability training for every young person that goes through the program. 3 years ago, we started working with the Detroit Wayne Mental Health Authority, and they added on some additional components for the folks that they support. So we have 500 young people going through additional mental wellness and mental health training as part of the program this year. So getting people ready to deal with adults in new problem-solving situations where maybe they haven't been before. You know, if you've come out of a neighborhood and you didn't have work or you didn't see a lot of it in your household, this is a new experience for you. So how do you develop those skills?
Maya, tell us about when you first went to go do this. How nervous were you? And
oh, extremely nervous. I was so nervous. Like I said, it's helped me with my social skills. Didn't know anybody going into the program. But the Youth Connection has helped me so much. I've made so many friends and so many mentors. Dr. Dudley is one of my mentors. I can call her whenever. And also Miss Nicole Hill, I can call her whenever. So it's very lovely. It's a very lovely place. And it's helped me so much, like I said. Yeah.
We've sent Maya out of state to represent the city of Detroit and the Youth Connection, and they did an awesome job. One of the things that we also want to encourage our kids to do is to have their voices heard. And I think a work experience, being part of the city of Detroit's summer youth employment, is part of that. And Maya went with three other young ladies and really represented the city extremely well.
You know, when I was a kid in the city, we didn't have anything quite like this, and for most of the time in between then and now, we haven't had anything like this. I wonder what you make of the impact on kids today. I mean, kids right now have all kinds of different challenges that I didn't have as a kid. This program seems to come along at exactly the right time.
Yeah, so I think there's multiple nodes of impact, right? So one is that we're adding in skilled training and development for today. So we're on August 2nd, we're going to be running a Young Professionals Conference that builds in the mental health component I mentioned. And one of the workshops there will be about dealing with bullying and social media online. How do you deal with that? I don't think you maybe had so many of those challenges, right? But we know from the data that we have from our evaluation partners that the program also has immediate impact. Those young people are supporting their families, they're supporting their homes and their communities. And we know it has long-term impact because they've done some controlled analysis now, and we see that the young people who go through GDYT, especially for a couple of years, they go to school more often, they're more likely to take those ACT, SAT type tests, and they're more likely to go to college. So we know they're performing as well or better than their peers after they have this very short intervention, essentially.
Yeah, because they have that experience. Can you tell us about some of the really standout success stories? I mean, I know we have Maya here, and she is one, but what about some of the other kids you've seen over
We've had a young man that was part of our program, and we placed him with our National Park partner, National Park Service partner, and he learned how to kayak.
Wow.
And he was also being recruited to be part of a gang. And so he got a call one day, and he told them, "I have something better," and that is a tremendous success. And now we were able to get him to Maine, and he called back, and he is an electrical engineer. And he credits that summer youth employment experience by coming to the agency and asking, "Is there something I could do?" And that's part of it. It's part of how do we engage our youth? How do we make sure that failure is not final? And how do we make sure that they are on that road to success? You know, and we'll be there every step of the way to make sure that they succeed.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great story, by
Isn't
the
it
way.
awesome?
It's wonderful that this exists and people can reach out and decide to do it. I feel like we also have a need to get it to people who may not know about it or may not have that sort of push or initiative to go sign up.
Sure. So the website, gdyt.org, is available all the time. We really launch off our recruitment activities, both for young people and our employer partners, who we can always use more of. That starts in January, February each year, usually with a kickoff by the mayor, who's a big champion of this work and a big supporter, right? So we're always open. Go to the website, find out the information that's all available there. Give me a call. You can track me down on the internet, you know, that kind of thing.
I'll keep working
We
on
need
my
more
kids,
slots.
too.
We need more
You need more
slots.
availability,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah,
right
this should
now,
be-
we may have a waiting list of about 500 kids just at the Youth Connection.
Is that right?
And so my appeal is to make sure that there's opportunities for all of the kids in the city of Detroit who want to work.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll keep working on my two.
Thank you.
As well. Thanks
Appreciate
for being
it.
here.
Thank you.
Finally today, one of the joys of summer in Detroit is visiting the city's Gem Bell Isle. On a recent Sunday, a diverse crowd gathered on the island to fly kites. It was the annual Detroit Kite Festival, a free event that features kite making, professional kite flyers, food, and music.
This is the third annual Detroit Kite Festival. It's definitely the biggest one that we've done so far, so the word has really spread, but we really try to be a Detroit-centered festival, totally free. We're 100% volunteer run. The Detroit Kite Festival is really about bringing people together outside, community, celebrating Detroit, really just a way to get young people, older people together to celebrate being outdoors and community, really. The DIA comes out every year. They've been here since year one to provide a kite making workshop for us, the DIA Education Studio. And then we also have our own creation, which is called the Will It Fly tent, where you can kind of, I don't know, be a mad scientist and see what you can make, see if it flies. And then we have some more calming activities. We have a book nook and a community tent with some local community organizations. And then if you break your kite, we have a kite repair tent as well. I really was hoping to create something that you could see your neighbors at, that you could just like pop by, something really, really simple, something that really inspired creativity, also celebrated our history. Detroit has a really beautiful history of kite flying. We have, right behind us, we have the Windjammers, who are doing this incredible choreographed kite performance. They're the oldest still existing kite team in the world, which is really amazing that we have them here right in our own backyard. So a group of friends and I decided to put this together. It was really just an idea in a notebook, and now there's thousands of people here at this event, so it's pretty special.
That's our program for today. Thanks for joining us. Go to AmericanBlackJournal.org for more information on our guests and to check out past episodes. And you can always connect with us on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll see you next time.
Masco Corporation is proud to manufacture innovative and environmentally friendly products for the home. Delta faucets, craft-made in Merillat cabinets, and Behr brand paints have all been designed with you in mind. Masco and its family of companies, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support also provided by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, a partner with communities where children come first. The Cynthia and Etzel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV.
The DTE Foundation proudly supports 50 years of American Black Journal in covering African American history, culture, and politics. The DTE Foundation and American Black Journal, partners in presenting African American perspectives about our communities and in our world.
Also brought to you by Ally, Nissan Foundation, and viewers like you. Thank you.